Hello, this is John from Organised Space. I'm going to talk to you today about using the Elfa planning tool so you can design any kind of storage space, but I'm going to do a wardrobe today, and most importantly how you can buy the parts, how you can get your parts list over to me so I can organise shipping for you. So we're going to go to the main corporate website, elfa.com. And now this is what I hoped would happen. We've landed in Sweden, so we need to get to not the Elfa International site, we need to get to the Elfa UK site, and it's important to do that so that your designs and your pricing are saved. I've been sort of round and round in various loops this morning trying to figure out how I consistently come in as an English customer and revisit my design. So at the moment I've just switched to English in Google. Google just offered me that opportunity, but that's not really what I want to do. That's not how I want to solve this problem. I want to get to, here we are. So I've gone to the navigation burger in the top left, and I can see the Swedish flag here. Okay, so we're going to hit that, and we're going to see select a market. This is what I need to do. Sometimes you're going to find yourself in the international website. I'm going to hit that again just to show you what that looks like. And again, we're now into the top right, and you can see this world symbol here. So I'm going to, anytime you see these maps, you're selecting a market. So I've gone back to this select a market function, and I'm going to go to UK this time. Okay, so here we are, English, fairly straightforward layout, navigation burger. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to log in, or I'm going to create a login. So I'm using my retail customer ID here, john@jonwild.com. I've previously set this up, I've got a password, so you're going to have to register your account to do this. Okay, let's hit send, and that will log us in. And that's a design I was working on earlier this morning. I'm now going to discard that. This is more what you'll be seeing, completely blank page after you've created a login. And we're now going to go back to the navigation burger on the top left. Have a quick look down here. I'm not going to dwell on this too long. We've got 4 different categories of product. I'll go into those in a minute. We've then got inspiration. This is various sort of marketing materials. But if you just want to see a whole bunch of pictures, go to Organised Space, Storage Ideas. It's a vast collection of Elfa pictures in different categories of use. Planning help. Now this is where we're going to spend our time today. We're going to be looking at the 3D planning tool. The other things here are useful. Basic instructions on measuring and planning, it's useful stuff. Brochures and price lists, again, that's a nice old school way of just exploring the range. And then we've got assembly instructions. I think that's just lots and lots of videos about how to DIY install your Elfa assembly. It's a really well supported product in that regard. Let's get back to 3D planning tool. So we scroll down, and you've got to keep switching between scrolling on the right and various menus and icons on the left. This is one of the things I've sort of got confused with when I was teaching myself this software this morning. So we're going to start planning. We're going to be doing classic Elfa, which is the broadest spectrum of spaces that Elfa cater for. The decor range, it's a narrower group of these classic products, but with a slightly more decorated finish. If you were doing a walk-in, this is the product you'd be looking at, but it is essentially an aesthetic difference. The core structure, the core components between classic Elfa and decor and sparring are the same. Sparring is twin slot shelving in its simple and most robust form. Elfa were the originators of this system, and it is by far the best made product available. 10-year warranty. You don't give those away unless you believe in your product. Garage Plus It's relatively new. There's not a lot of it in the UK. Everything that you can do as Garage Plus, you can do with the older original products. But I'm going to be looking at a wardrobe today. So, start planning. Here we go. Planning tool launches. We don't have any saved solutions. I deleted the only one I had this morning. What have we got? Let's go over to the left hand side and go down the menu. We've got room size. So this is creating your room model. You've got a complete list of products. Below that you've got subsets of products. So let's look at systems first. You've got the wall hanging system. You've got a freestanding system. You've got a track system for heavy duty tools and hooks, things like that. And we have the drawer system, which is basically a metal tower with built-in drawer runners. It's really useful for awkward spaces where the wall hanging system isn't going to work. And we've got the back of door system. Many of the components in the back of door system can be used elsewhere in a design. I tend to do more of that than I do actually putting things on backs of doors, but that's perhaps for another video. Let's get rid of this filter. It's not particularly useful at the moment. That refers to shelf depths and the front to back depth of the space you're working in. I'm going to assume we're working in an open room at the moment. So let's go to the room model. I've clicked on the room size icon just below the navigation burger, top left. And I'm going to put the ceiling height up a little bit. You see as I dragged it, the height changed here. You can type as well, I'm going to put 2.5 meters in there. So that's 2,500 millimeters. I'm going to drag the left wall out a little bit. And I'm going to change the colour just because I can. Now, an important thing to do at this stage, changing the colour isn't technically important. Choosing the wall material is. So the front wall, let's look at our options. We have got, if I hover, yes, it's single plasterboard. Okay, hover over the next one, double plasterboard. Technically, there's going to be no difference between those in terms of what you can do with Elfa. Elfa's drywall fixings for plasterboard, which is, it's going to be metal stud or wood frame behind, wood stud, doesn't make any difference. It's a superb drywall fixing. I've done loads of bespoke work before I got into Elfa, and I use these drywall fixings on all my projects. Next options are concrete. So it's a masonry wall, brick, concrete, whatever. Cold sounds hard. Next option is tiles. I don't really know why that's there. I've never fitted Elfa onto a tiled wall, but it's there. So at the moment I'm going to pick a nice simple one. I've got a stud wall, so I've gone for the first option, single plaster. Now we're ready to start designing. So I'm using my mouse wheel to move in and out a little bit there, but I'm also using the scrolling bar on the right to get a nice frame there. Right, room model. Now the first thing I wanted to do is, if we go right down the bottom, we've got an icon here which allows you to blank out different spaces in the room. So for example, one of the reasons I'm going to do this is I'm going to dump a door in there, and then my little ugly mug can stay down in that bottom corner, and I'm going to put a little, let's pretend there's a staircase encroaching on that corner. I'm going to dump that in there. Can we drag that out a bit? I wonder if we can. Yeah, okay, so it's up here. Let's just make those, let's make that 700 by 700. So we've kind of made that top corner redundant. We've said we've told the system we can't put anything up there. Right, let's get into the business end of things and start designing. We're going to go third icon down on systems, and we're going to go for the top track system. Now, before I'm using my mouse wheel there a little bit, before I let go of this, let's look at what's happening. Those vertical components are jumping around in size, and what they're doing is they're jumping to that's the shortest vertical component, the hang standard. Top to bottom, that's 99 centimeters, and it's going to jump to the 1.5 hang standard. It's going to jump again to the 2 meter hang standard, the 2.1. Now I might just be able to squeeze in the 2.3. Okay, so I've gone nearly up to the ceiling. Excuse me. And I'm using I'm going to click on that hang standard. Yeah, if you look down here, you can see that I'm using the 2.3 meter length of hang standard. That's the longest unextended hang standard. That's the one I wanted to use. So let's get rid of this menu here by clicking on systems, and it disappears. So we've started to get a single bay up here ready to use. I want to extend across this wall here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the products that I've dumped in already. Try and get a slightly more favourable view there. Now, I'm not going to use this drag arrow because that's extending the width of the bay. What I'm going to look for is this plus symbol. Okay, so we've got Elfa products are designed around standard bays. You can work outside of a standard bay, but for many of the components I want to look at today, we're going to be using the standard bay sizes. So I want to extend across this wall. I want this plus symbol, so I'm going to go plus, and I don't want to put another hang standard in there. I want another complete bay over this side, so I'm going to go plus. It immediately gives me another option to put another plus in here, which is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go for one more. Okay, now it's telling me you've gone over the door. Right, how do we get rid of that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce this last 600 bay to a 450 bay, and look, it jumps in to the next standard bay. If you look right down the bottom, 451 millimeters. So I have got it's sort of fortunate that within the standard sizes, and I do believe I could drag that whole assembly over. Yeah, look, so here's the move and drag assembly for the whole thing, and I can drag that right over to that outside wall if I want. And you see, you know, I'm increasing the gap to the left, to the right. I can put that where I want. So I'm going to continue using standard bays. In fact, no, the first thing I'm going to show you very quickly, this is a non-standard bay now. I'm going to drag that out to that architrave there, and it's given me, can I see that? Yeah, so 559, that is a non-standard bay size. I'm not going to be able to fit gliding components into that bay. I won't be able to fit shoe racks or baskets into that bay. So I'm going to drag that back to a standard bay size, 451, it clicks in, and then I'm going to recenter my whole assembly nicely between the architrave and the left hand wall. Okay, let's start designing. So here is our room. I'm going to zoom out as much as I can, center that a little bit by using the scroll on the right, and I'm going to start by putting in a nice high shelf with a hanging rail on. So I'm going to put that as high as I can. I think just very quickly I'm going to change the height of the room. Okay, let's get back to designing. I've just just shown a little more space above that highest shelf. So now with this, there is a double shelf which will go to 1.2 meters. So if I wanted to drag that shelf out, I could do. It's kind of not letting me do it at the moment. I'm not going to obsess over that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag more shelves into that space. Now it's, did you see these warnings coming up here? It gave me 3 separate warnings about the closet rod. Now it's, when we get to the parts list, it will give me closet rod lengths that need to be cut to size. Again, many of the Elfa components are designed to be cut to size. They retain their 10-year warranty if you do cut them to size, so you can work with non-standard bay sizes and you can sort of fine-tune the system to exactly how you want. Let's just, so yeah, we've got our, what in construction would be called our hat shelf and coat rail. I always encourage customers to go as high as possible with their hanging, and hanging is the most efficient way of storing clothes. So what we can do is we can add some waist height hanging. There's another little warning coming up there. It's telling me I'm getting too close to that top rail. There isn't enough hanging drop between the highest rail and that shelf. So if we bring that down, there's the warning again. If we bring that down, the warning goes, and we're now in that highest hanging drop. We could probably get some t-shirts, blouses, things like that in there. If we come down to 1.1 meter, you can get a gent's suit or a shirt with French cuffs in there, and you've still got room underneath for some shirts, blouses, things like that. Now, one of the great things about Elfa is, although we could go in a line straight across, we don't have to. So we could create a different hanging height above. So we could have some, I don't know, sort of mid-length dresses in there, 1.3 meters, and we could have some t-shirts down below. I mean, it was flagging that up as being a little too low. I know from experience that, you know, there are plenty of crop tops and t-shirts and things that would fit in there. So that's enough hanging for us on this design. The next thing I want to add in is some options for folded clothes. Now, I'm going to go to the shelves and I'm going to go to a basket shelf. That is, yeah, okay, I'm going to leave that there. That is a basket shelf. It's a shelf that has a 100mm upstand, and it has dividers. These are shown as being used as end caps at the moment, but you can buy additional dividing components that split that up. So it's really good for sportswear. It's really good for children, where you've got lots of, you know, vests and little pants and socks and things like that, where you can create lots of divisions to, you know, organise those clothes better. It's a sort of a halfway house between a basket and a shelf. But let's get into some baskets. So I've clicked on the basket drawers and hampers icon in the left, and the first thing I'm seeing is 3 different sizes of grey looking drawer. Below that I've got 3 sizes of 1-inch wire grid drawer, and various sort of dividers and accessories below that. These first 3 are, it's a mesh design. It's a perforated aluminium mesh, either in white, or if we look here, the whole design can be switched into what Elfa call graphite. It's a really, really nice dark chocolatey brown with a slight metallic to it. It's a really lovely, lovely sort of take on black. But I'm going to go back to the white for now. Not everything is available in the black at the moment. Everything is always available in the white. So we've got mesh baskets. I'm going to go low down. In fact, I'm going to go low down with a large mesh. The large is 28 centimeters deep. It's told me I've put that too close to the floor. I'm not going to worry too much about that at the moment. So 28, oh no, it's in the floor. I should worry about that. Let's move that up a bit. Right, so the large mesh drawer is perfect for woolens, really bulky items. I wouldn't fill it up top to bottom with linen or cotton. That will put too much weight in that particular product, but really perfect for woolens. The product I sell most of is the medium, 18 centimeters deep. Load that up with t-shirts, underwear, shirts, sportswear, whatever you need. I generally would be selling quite a lot of that medium size. I'm going to move that shelf basket up just a fraction so I can squeeze in a small drawer. Now, the 8 centimeter height drawer, I don't sell a lot of them. I usually ask clients to think carefully about this. If you have the room to really divide up your smallest items, you know, lingerie, handkerchiefs, ties, it's only really good for really small items. If you're struggling for room in the whole room, go for more mediums. Okay, we now have our 450 bay, which I don't believe we could fit shoe storage into. They used to make the shoe storage in 450, but it's not letting me drop that in at the moment, so I'm going to assume that those 450 shoe components have been discontinued. We can get 450 wide baskets in there, so I'm going to put a few of those in. I'm going to move that one up, and I'm going to put a 450 large in at the bottom there. Sort of didn't work. Let's try moving it a little bit, lining up with the one next to it. Okay, that's going to work well. So now is probably a good time to stop, and you know, we've created a nice area for very long hanging here. That could be useful. I just wonder if could we fit, let's just put a small number of simple flat shelves in that area as well. I hate folding. I am not a folder. You either are or you aren't, but if you are a folder, there's some flat shelves that you can fold stuff on. Let's now start to talk about price. Here's our finished design. We're getting a little warning here. That's telling me that there's going to be a clash between this shelf and this basket. In reality, I know I could probably sort that out on install day, but I'm going to move that up a fraction to get rid of that clash between that component and that component. One of the things that you would generally do is that you would share that bracket there. So it's let me do that. So I'm now sharing that bracket between the shallow basket and that flat shelf. So I've actually reduced my costs there by deleting a component. Let's get into price. So let's assume this is our finished design, and we look at the top right, we can see a price, and it's showing the price in euros. But I hope, because we logged in as an English user and we hit proceed, first thing it's going to ask us to do is to save that design. I've got a few old ones here, so I'm going to call that John Test 4, and I'm going to save, and now we're into price. Is it going to be, yes, there we go, it's in pounds. Now if you're seeing euros at this stage, it means you haven't logged in or set up your account as a GB user. So if you can't be bothered or can't figure out how to sort that issue out and you're getting euros here, just send me the euro list and I will convert it for you. So now, from my point of view, this is the important bit. Let's assume you want to buy at this stage. send solution. So we're going to send our solution to john@organizedspace.com. I'll receive that at my end. I can then get in touch and we can talk about shipping addresses. I can give the design a bit of a sanity check for you. That's just a nice simple way of starting that purchase process. At the moment I'm going to cancel that and I'm going to look at a different way of doing this. So at the moment we don't have anything in our purchase list here. Very, very top right icon there. But if I hit add to purchase list and then I go back to the top right, I can then open that purchase list and show all. We can look through. There's all our stuff. I do believe at this stage, no, you can't change the numbers at that stage. You've probably got to go back into design. So this is another way you can get your purchase list over to me. If you hit print, got the option to save as a PDF there, so that'll be saving on your system somewhere, perhaps on your desktop. You can hit save and then you can just email me and say hi, you know, where your project is, tell me a little bit about what you're trying to achieve, what I think of the design. So that's one other way you can get your list across to me. So let's get back to the design. I think if I go right down the bottom, and I'm going to go to the navigation burger again. So I'm still in this area, I'm in the price list. I'm going to go to the navigation burger and I'm going to go to planning help, 3D planning tool, and nope, that is not the right way to do it. I made this mistake the first time I tried to record this video. You're going to go from your price list, your parts list, you're going to go from there to your account. Okay? And here you can see your design that you've just worked on, and if you had other designs they would be here. So if you want to change the design or view the details of that design, this is where you do it. Let's hit view details first. It's taking us back into the price list. So I'm going to go to my account and I'm going to go to design Jon test 4 and I'm going to go to edit. Now this takes us back into the design tool. There's all our warnings that we've paid some attention to. They're orange, not red, so it's just a sort of be aware rather than panic. Now let's assume that I didn't particularly note the price there. I'm gonna, so 1,300 euros. Let's see how we get the price down. So if you're on a budget, and it's a great budget product, and I'm going to show you now how you can control your budget. The gliding components, let's just quickly, I'm going to put one, I'm going to delete that basket and I'm going to quickly throw in a nice mesh shoe rack there. So the gliding components, like the drawers and the shoe racks, that's what's going to be putting your budget up. They are relatively high value components, but an Elfa drawer is a fifth the cost of a bespoke wardrobe drawer. My background is in bespoke furniture. I've designed, supplied and installed hundreds of bespoke drawers. To get right, to do beautifully to a high engineering standard, you're probably looking today at about £300 per drawer. This Elfa component, I'm guessing slightly here, I think it's about, with brackets, with covers, with the basket, it's probably between £50 and £60 for a product that is going to do exactly the same job. It's guaranteed for 10 years. That is a phenomenal price difference. So even with this design as it is for £1,300, the level of functionality you're getting for that budget is phenomenal. It's absolutely incredible. But I want to reduce the cost. I would like to get this design down to, let's say, under £1,000. Now I know the gliding components are expensive. Shoes, they're always difficult to organise. But if you just, like most people, you'll have a neat row of them along the floor, and there are plenty of options for shoe racks. So I'm going to delete my beautiful gliding shoe rack there. I'm going to delete my narrower drawers, and it might be that I choose to put some more simple shelves in there. You could also put just to show that it can be done, I'm going to put a basket shelf in there, and I'm going to delete the 600 wide basket shelf. The basket shelf can be cut to any width, so that is a very, very flexible way of creating folding storage for folding items. I'm going to delete my 600 wide basket shelf, and I'm going to delete my small shallow drawer. Remember, I said I personally didn't think that was good value where you've got limited space. Let's see what those few changes there have done to the price. So we're already below €1,000. Let's look at the pound sterling price. Now you'll notice it's gone into that much quicker and easier. We didn't have to save the design, we've already done it once, we just updated the design. So where is our pound sterling total? Let's have a look, it must be down the bottom. There, so we are already well below £1,000, we're at £805 for a very, very high functioning wardrobe design. It's got some drawers, it's got some shelves, it's got a basket shelf, it's got hanging all the way across the top, and 2 rows of movable hanging for creating some different hanging drops. You know, if you've got those differences in hanging drop, you can really pack in all of your clothes and use every inch of that wall space. So we've made some changes, we're happy with those, and we're then going to go down the bottom again, and we're going to send that design to me. We're going to send it to john@organisedspace.com, or we can go to our, let's just check, because it is possible to add a design in twice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the purchase list. I've got John Test 4, it looks like that design has been updated. So we still have those other 2 options of, we can create a PDF here with the print button, or we can go right back into the design. So remember, we have to go to our account icon, and then we edit the design to go right back into the design. And then we're gonna, from here, I'm just sort of deliberately thrashing around here to try and sort of show you that there are different routes to getting to your final design. So we've gone back to the price. We're going to go right down the bottom, and we can see that we've got our send solution button, we've got our print button for creating a PDF. Let's do that. So save as PDF. This is going to end up on your desktop somewhere. You can then email me through your normal email system, attach the PDF, and raise any points of concern or things about the design you'd like to change. I'll give the design a sanity check anyway, and we can then crack on and get your £800 fully bespoke wardrobe shipped off to you. Now, the bulk of my business is design, supply and install. So if I had designed this wardrobe for you, I'd be charging you £805 plus 80%. If it was your design and you wanted me to install it, I'd be charging you £800 plus 40%. Most of my design focuses on more complex shapes, difficult solutions, but I've copied all of the Elfa components into my CAD system, which is SolidWorks, and I can design quite complex spaces now at lightning speed. But for flat walls and very, very straightforward wardrobes, in the last few years the Elfa design tool has come on leaps and bounds, and it's really worth playing with now. It's really worth exploring and having some fun with. Okay, I hope that's been useful. If you're struggling with any of this, just get in touch. I'm a nice guy, I love talking about this stuff. Phone up, email, and let's see if we can help. Okay, thanks for your time.